Hello everybody, so today I'm back with another currently inked. I swapped out some of my pens and inks, so I wanted to share that with you guys. Yeah, let's get started. So the first one I have is this Majohn, or this Moonman A1, and this is such an awesome pen. I have been really enjoying this for taking notes. For an everyday pen, it's amazing. It just has a little click action like that, so you don't have to bother about opening up the pen. It's super fast. And it just writes really, really well. I am so happy with it. And I have this one inked up with Sailor Shikiori Rikiucha. I don't know how to say that, I apologize, but it is this wonderful greenish brown. It changes as it dries, but it's kind of a pretty dark olivey greenish brown. It's really beautiful. And this is the clipless model because I was worried, because I hold my pen in all different ways, I thought it would interfere. So I got the one that just has the roll stop at the top here and it doesn't have a clip. So as you can see, this dries really quickly. So it's a great pen for taking notes. It's not a super wet writer, but I would not say that it's a dry ink. It writes really smoothly. It works perfectly in this pen. I really love this combo. It's wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so the next one is one of my Jinhao 82s that I Frankensteined together. So this is like the blue sort of smoke one and a sparkly brown one. It makes this cute little combo. So I believe this one is inked up with Birmingham Pen Co.'s Weathered Brick. So this is a delightfully burgundy sort of brown color. It's very similar to Hua and Klingner's Julie sketch ink. So let me just write out the name here. And I have a medium nib on this one. I switched it out. So it's just a Jinhao nib, but it's a medium and it writes super wet. So as you can see, this is still kind of wet by the 20-second mark. Oh, I forgot to write 20 seconds. I like to just do both just in case anyone's interested of how fast they dry. But this one stays pretty wet. It's a thick, kind of a thick, heavy medium nib. But I really love this ink. It is so gorgeous. I mean, the shading on it is insane. So this is actually a sample that one of my viewers sent me after I did that video on the 8 pen questions tag. Rachel reached out to me through a DM on Instagram and we arranged to do an ink swap. So they sent me a couple of inks and then I sent them back a couple of inks, and it was really fun. It's so fun to get a package in the mail that you didn't order, to actually get a little piece of mail with a letter in it and stuff. So I really appreciated that. That was super fun. And then the other one that I inked up is my TWSBI Eco, and this one is the Birmingham Pen Co. Stormwater Runoff. So this is a gorgeous khaki brown green. And this one is not as wet as the other one, but it's in a fine nib, so that's kind of understandable. I keep forgetting to write the 20. Yeah, so this one's much drier. Again, it's in a fine compared to a medium, so that would help with that drying faster. But this is a beautiful color for journaling. I have written a bunch of text with it. It's just really legible. It has some shading in it, which is interesting, but it's just a really easy color to read. So I've really been enjoying using this as my journaling color, and I love my Eco. And the fine nib works really well on my Kimbo paper because the Kimbo tends to make it a little broader. So I tend to use either drier inks or smaller nib sizes for that journal. So it's been amazing. Yeah, so I've really been enjoying that. Okay, let me move the paper up. Okay, and next one is my little Preppy Wa. And this one is inked up with Hua and Klingner's sketch ink. Now, I made this mix myself to match the pen, and I have really been loving it. Let me just write this out. So this mix is actually, I did have a previous mix in it, which was Frida and Julie, and I decided to make it a little lighter, so I added some Veroni in this one. So this one is 1 part Frida, 2 parts Julie, and 2 parts Veroni. And it makes this sort of dusty purple. And the interesting thing about these inks is that they're very flat. So they're sketch inks and they're pigment inks, and you would think that they would have a lot of kind of dimension, but they're very sort of one tone. There's not much shading in it or much interest, but I really enjoy this color for journaling too. It's nice to look at a whole page of this color. It's not too distracting. It's a very calming sort of mix. So I made up a little mix, a vial of this mix here so that I can keep using it. But yeah, I really love these sketch inks. They're so versatile. They're waterproof, so they're great for journaling. I just keep them in these preppy pens because I am a little worried about pigment inks in my other pens. And you can see they kind of, I think I probably dropped this so someone into the cap, and it's kind of impossible to get it out of the cap where it is located right here. But they clean out of your pens fine. I tend to, before I refill it again, I'll give it a good clean and a good soak, and then just refill it up again with the same color. I feel like because it's a pigment ink, you kind of want to refresh it rather than just keep refilling it and empty that pigment out, because it does get settled in the feed. And these Platinum Preppy fines are just so smooth and just right like butter. They're really great. And you don't get any smudging after 20. They dry really quick. I actually have never smudged even when I'm writing with these guys. Okay, my next one is in my Pilot Kakuno, and this is Ferris Wheel Press The Fluttering Heart. So this is a beautiful sort of taupey pink color with a shimmer in it. I think it has a champagne shimmer. And this pen is just really great for this ink. It doesn't dry up. Hang on, let me do the 20. And I have really been enjoying using this. The Kakunos are just great for shimmering inks because they're pretty easy to take apart and clean. And I found myself just using a lot of this. It's very readable. With the shimmer, it's just this beautiful satiny shimmer that just looks absolutely gorgeous. So the next one I have inked up is this Carousel by Ferris Wheel Press, and this is my first Ferris Wheel Press pen, and it's really good actually. It doesn't feel as sort of heavyweight as a Kaweco or even like the Kakuno. It's just a different type of plastic. It's kind of similar to, you know, those we call them texters in Australia, but like markers when you in school and you have like a set of markers. It really feels like this end of it really feels like that. The lid stays on really, really well. It has a really good snap, and it actually has like a little cap in there, so it stays wet. And I've been using this for a couple of weeks now, and look at that, super wet writer. When I first got this pen, I wrote with it for the test, and if you've watched my previous video, you'll see that I wrote with it and it was great and it was fine, and then it just didn't write again. So I was kind of sad, and I was like, oh man, it can't even handle the shimmer, you know, that's what I was thinking. And so I got, this is in Tumultuous Tides, hang on, Tumultuous Tides, oh my gosh, did I spell that right? Well, don't look at it too much if I didn't. Anyway, I got really upset, and so I found my little shim that I got from Goulet Pens, and I just ran it through once or twice. I didn't see anything come out, but then it wrote perfectly, and it has not had any issues since. What I think it was is maybe when you fill it up first, because you're kind of dipping it in there, I think the shimmer might just get a bit clogged. So it had that initial write, and then it just jammed up. But I've had no issues after that. I'm just going to do Ferris Wheel Press. I don't want to write it out again. And Tumultuous Tides. And we have room for one more, but I don't have any more inked. I was thinking of maybe inking this Kaweco because I haven't inked this up in a long time. So maybe we will choose an ink for this guy and ink it up. Let's have a look. Okay, so I think I want to do one of these yellow or gold ones. I think let's go with Robert Oster African Gold. I haven't put that in a pen yet. I've done a sample of it, but I think let's go with that one. Okay, so it's in my yellow and brown box here. I think it's probably one of these guys. It's Cafe Crema. Okay, African Gold. So when I fill up my pens, I never fill them all the way because I just get bored of it. So let's just fill it a little. I'm probably going to get this everywhere. No problem. So even though this is a teeny tiny converter, I'm just going to fill it up that much. And then I find if I love it, then I'll just fill it again. Okay, well that wasn't a disaster. Okay, let's just write a little bit of nonsense on here just so we can get the pen flowing. Ooh, this color is lovely. Wow, this is a good match actually. So it doesn't have any shimmer in it, but it's really gold. Wow, this is a delicious color. Okay, let's write it down. Oh, that is such an amazing color. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do my little marks up here. I'll come back and do that. I'll finish this one out. So it's still a little wet after 20. Let's do the Tumultuous Tides. So let's take a look at these up close. So this is the Sailor Shikiori one, the Rikyucha. And you can see it looks probably more green than brown. On the swatch, you can see it kind of ranges from, in the mass tone, it's a lot browner, and then it goes really sort of that army green, and it actually has like a red sheen, which doesn't really show through in the text. Next one is the Birmingham Pen Co-Weathered Brick, and you can see the shading on that. This gorgeous sort of burgundy color. So here's the swatch for this guy. So really lovely. And then we have the other Birmingham Co, which is the Stormwater Runoff. And actually these two are quite similar, the Rikyucha and the Stormwater Runoff. But you can see like in their swatches, they're kind of that same family. But when you put it in a fountain pen, it is a lot lighter. As you can see here, they look very different to each other. But really beautiful color, a little bit of shading, really lovely. And this is the Rohr and Klingner mix that I did, the purple. And then this is the Ferris Wheel Press Fluttering Heart. You can see all the shimmer in there. You know, actually, it feels to me when I've been writing with it that it's been getting darker and darker. And I wonder if that is because of the shimmer. Because when you look at the swatches here, they're like super light. So this was straight from the bottle with a glass tip pen and a paintbrush. When it has the shimmer on it, it's actually pretty dark. So I'm wondering whether that is just a lot of the buildup of the shimmer, because the dominating color to me on this writing here is like that champagne shimmer. So interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's almost a completely different color. So no wonder I've been kind of liking it more and more. I think it's been getting darker and darker because maybe the shimmer was sort of backlogged or something. But yeah, I mean, completely different color. Really interesting. But yeah, enjoying writing with that. And then we have our Tumultuous Tides, which you can see has a little bit of shimmer there too. And I'll show you the swatches for those guys. So this is it shaken with all the shimmer, and then if you just use it without shaking it, it has some really interesting greens and blues in there. So yeah, really lovely, very legible color. And then our last one, which was an impromptu choice, is the Robert Oster African Gold, which is really delicious. So here's the swatch for that. Yeah, so it has some shading in there. It leans a little bit green, I would say, but really gorgeous in that medium nib. Yeah, so that's our choices for the coming couple of weeks. I don't tend to do a swap out every month. One of my viewers wrote to me and was like, oh, when are you going to have another currently inked? And I was like, oh, I don't really do it every month. It's sort of when I run out of ink or if I feel like changing stuff up. So sorry that they're not, consistently uploaded, but I kind of just film them when I change stuff out. So hopefully this was helpful on maybe choosing your next ink or just looking at these colors to see if anything takes your fancy. I am really still interested in trying some more Birmingham Penco inks. I've been really impressed by these. I really like how they write. And yeah, I'd really like to try the Pennsylvania Fieldstone, and I think there's one like Petrified Wood or something like that. I'd really like to try those two. I might just end up buying a bottle, but if anybody wants to do a trade, reach out to me and let me know. My email is in my bio here, or you can DM me on Instagram. And if you're in the US, just so we can both save on shipping costs, that would be cool. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.